Hello, Teacher Courtney here, and welcome back to my VIPKID classroom. I decided to make another video, hopefully a shorter video, with all the tips and tricks and things I've learned in my 3 weeks with VIPKID. I just kind of jumped in with both feet, and so I have learned a lot. Some of these things are in my last video, but there's a whole bunch of new stuff as well. I hope this helps those of you, especially those who are on the fence about applying for VIPKID. I know that it can seem like a very daunting process, but it is worth it. So let's get started. Tip number 1, water. Water. Always keep water or some sort of drink at your desk. I actually saw this tip in another video, and then the next day I was teaching my 3rd class and I had them all back to back, and it felt like somebody had taken a whole bunch of cotton balls and just shoved them in my mouth and my throat, and my face turned red and my eyes started watering, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. So I will never make that mistake again. You do a lot of talking and things like that, and so your mouth and your throat can get dry. So you definitely need to keep water or some sort of drink at your desk. It's very, very important. Tip number 2. This might seem like common sense, but there are those of us who don't always use our common sense. Always keep your computer plugged in. Always. Sounds simple enough, right? I was in the middle of the class last week when suddenly this little box pops up and it said that my Mac was about to go to sleep in low battery mode and whatever. I panicked, had one of those hold on a minute, and jumped down and plugged my computer back in. So, yes, it is a very common sense thing to keep it plugged in, but some of us, not always on top of our game. All right, tip number 3. Along the lines of computers, make sure that your automatic updates are turned off. Several teachers have had their computers restart due to an automatic update in the middle of class, and it has caused them to have a teacher IT. I had a box pop up asking me if I wanted to do an update, and luckily I could just click it off, but it still gave me a little bit of a scare. So make sure that your computer updates are not on automatic. You want those turned off. Number 4, invest in a laminator. Yes, a laminator. It is my best friend right now. I absolutely love it. I paid a whopping $17 for my laminator from Amazon Prime. Oh, Prime. It is an Amazon Basics laminator, and it was actually recommended by some teachers, and I love it. I laminate everything. For this tip, I'm actually going to kind of roll a whole bunch into one. The reason I love my laminator is because I do not have a huge classroom. I don't have a lot of room for props, and I know that is a big concern for a lot of new teachers because they don't know where they're going to store things. They think they're going to have a whole bunch of stuffed animals and puppets everywhere and whatnot. Most of the props that I use are flat props, things that are easy to store. I print them on paper or I draw them and I laminate them. I love laminating. I will laminate anything. So for instance, I'll just show you some of my favorite props. I was teaching a student today how to say, I live in China. China. Talking about the weather. My lovely thundercloud. My arrow that you saw earlier for pointing out facial features. Shapes. You want to talk about shapes? Have you noticed that most of mine are on a stick? I also like to glue things on a stick. Here's a shape on a stick, a square on a stick. All of my numbers are laminated. I absolutely love them, and they're so incredibly easy to store, and they will last a long time because they're protected by the laminating machine, whatever. What are those called? The laminating sleeves or whatever. They're awesome. So $17, it will be your very, very best friend. So highly recommend a laminator. And it's not that big, it's easy to store too. So invest in one. Tip number 5. A whiteboard. This will be your other best friend. I actually have 2 of them that I use. And I'll explain the other one in a little bit. But I love this whiteboard. This is one of the common activities in VIPKID for, learning different sounds of letters and how to put them together to form words. So this is a CVC activity, consonant, vowel, consonant. So this is easy, an easy way to demonstrate how to do the activity and to form words. So duh, duh, app, app, duh, app, tap, dap, dap. So it's very easy to show them what they need to do and help them visualize how the letters coming together form those words. I also use my whiteboard because, like I said, a lot of my props are flat props. So a lot of my rewards are flat rewards. And I also glue magnets on the back. So most of the whiteboards are also magnetized and are magnetic. And so like this is one of my favorite ones. I use in my little piggy bank. And I got some of these coins and some money, which, yes, I laminated. And so when they do a good job, I have this on the whiteboard and they just get a collection of coins or money, and they love that. So Laminator, whiteboard, your best friends right there. So tip number 6. Your phone. I don't know what I just did with my phone. I don't know where it went. But imagine I have my phone in my hand. There are some slides on there that use a timer for reading sight words. And so you can use a timer on your phone and show them how fast they're getting at reading their sight words. And you can just time them, and they like it. It's like a fun game to see how fast they can get to read their sight words. So always have your phone with you because there will be some activities that you can use it for. And also make sure your phone is on silent, though. That is important. But there's also some rewards that you can use on your phone. For instance, I know a teacher, I haven't downloaded it yet, but I'm going to. They have an app that's a surprise egg app. So you keep tapping it until it breaks open and they can see what's inside the surprise egg. And that's an app on their phone. And it's a great reward. So another way to use technology in the classroom. Tip number 7. This wasn't my last one, but I'm going to say it again because I feel it's that important. Red lipstick. Red lipstick. They have to see how you move your mouth. They have to. It's just all in learning those sounds and letter names and things like that. And it just helps to make it easier for them to focus and see how you're forming your mouth. I also get asked if I wear makeup every time, and I do, because I'm that type of person who can go to Walmart, run into somebody I know, and they ask me if I'm feeling well because I don't have makeup on and I look terrible. I'm that person. So there is no way I'm going to teach without makeup on because I don't want my students to think I'm on my deathbed. Plus the lights kind of wash you out. So I personally wear makeup. Not everybody does that. It's personal preference. On that note, lighting is so important. Like I said in my last video, I actually, that was something I had to correct. So I have my overhead lights, like my fan and things like that. I have a desk lamp that has different settings, a touch light. And then I have this guy from Amazon. As you can tell, I love Amazon, which is the selfie light. And it has different settings, and it clips onto the computer, and it also stays plugged in because it does run out of batteries really quickly. I also learned that the hard way in a class, and so now I keep it plugged in always. So lighting is very important. All right, number 8. This was in my last video as well, but I highly recommend these letter flashcards from Amazon. go figure, because they don't have the pictures on the front. Like this one, a lot of times on the slides, banana goes along with the letter B, and a lot of the flashcards some have bananas, but some have other things, like a bear. This is a bear. This is not a banana. So imagine to a non-English speaker how confusing that could be to see the letter B and you're talking about a banana and there's a bear on there. So I prefer these simple cards, and I actually am going to use them with my own children. I love those flashcards. All right, number 9. This one is very important. Always read, if you are hired, always read the teacher feedback on your students, and also write teacher feedback. It's important to know for a teacher to see what that student needs to work on, if there's any behavioral issues, and things they like, simple things. For example, I had a student who a lot of the feedback was about him being a little bit distracted, and a great kid, but just a little bit distracted, but he loves airplanes. So of course I'm a little bit nervous, and I was thinking, what could I do? Well, for his reward, if I can grab it, I went into my son's room and found a plane that he doesn't play with anymore. Got one of my handy dandy whiteboards, and what do you know? I made a quick reward, glued some magnets on there, and every time he does a good job, my student did a good job, we would hop from one cloud to the other. Whoa, he's sliding off. Until we hit finished. And he loved that. And of course you have to act it out, and all that stuff. And he would act it out with me, and he loved that. And we would, just jump from one cloud to the other. I would have never have thought of that if I did not read the teacher feedback. And so I was really grateful to know that that little guy liked planes. That was very helpful. Number 10. Feedback Panda is a website that a fellow VIPKID teacher developed. I believe she was a fellow VIPKID teacher, or is one, developed, and it is wonderful, and it helps you keep track of your students. There is a $10, I believe $10, maybe $5, I can't remember, subscription a month. It has been incredibly helpful because you have to write feedback after each class, and sometimes it can be a little bit hard. This actually has a feedback cloud that you can go in, and it's stuff, feedback that teachers have already typed out, and it can insert the student's name, but you can also go in there and customize it per student as well. But it is a nice foundation to have if you're one of those that can get kind of stumped on feedback. But then it also takes those students and it keeps a list for you, so you can keep track of every single student you have taught, and you can go back, you can make notes on them. It is fantastic. I highly recommend Feedback Panda. It's just wonderful. All right, bonus time. If you are hired or if you're in the process of interviewing, I highly suggest joining Facebook support groups. There's several out there. My favorite one is VIPKID Teacher Community, I believe is the name. I love that one. I have learned so much from the other teachers in there, and it's just great to have that support from people who know what it's like to be a VIPKID teacher. I highly suggest joining Facebook groups. So that being said, I am all done with my tips and tricks. I still went a little bit long, but I hope this was very helpful. So goodbye until next time.